Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, April the 22nd, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you caught some of the games over the weekend. Of course, the last time I talked to you on Friday up in Boston, they were in pursuit of the second suspect. As we all know, they caught the second suspect. He is in custody. He is recovering in a hospital from his injuries. So we will keep an eye on what's going on in Boston, any new developments. Of course, Boston, we are thinking about you as always. Okay, I want to start in the NBA today. Our NBA playoffs are underway. I actually was at Madison Square Garden on Saturday for the Knicks-Celtic game, and I want to say I'm a neutral fan. I want to say that right now. I am not a Knicks fan or a Celtic fan. I was there to watch some basketball. So let's get to the game first of all. The Knicks go up 1-0. Listen, it's the same story all the time for Boston. They don't have enough firepower. Ever since they won the title, they have not had enough firepower since. Kevin Garnett looks old. He looks like an old elephant. He's banged up. He gives you everything he has, Garnett. He plays hard. He gives you everything he has. But he just doesn't have a lot left in the tank anymore. He had a bad shooting game, didn't play well. Paul Pierce is a good player, but he's not a great player anymore. Rondo is out. Jeff Green was spectacular for Boston. Kept him in the game, especially in the first half. Then he kind of faded out, in the second half, but had a great first half. Kept him in the game. Boston does not have enough firepower, and that's been the story in the last few years. Remember when they played the Lakers, and the Lakers down by like 17 in Game 7 out in Los Angeles in the championship a few years ago? Didn't have enough firepower to finish it off in the fourth quarter. Even last year, they took Miami to 7 games. Didn't have enough firepower to finish off in the fourth quarter. Same thing with this team. They are going to battle the Knicks. It's a big rivalry. The Knicks were ripe for the picking. The Knicks didn't play well. Boston did not have enough firepower. Boston led by 7 points with a minute to go in the third quarter. The last 13 minutes of the game, last minute of the third, last 12 of the fourth quarter, Boston had 8 points. 8 points in 13 minutes of NBA basketball. That's not going to get it done. They couldn't beat the Bobcats with that kind of scoring. Couldn't get a basket, shot 25% in the second half. Boston does not have a lot of firepower at all. Give the Knicks credit. They hung in there. They battled back. Carmelo Anthony again played well. Then you had Kenyon Martin doing some good things, getting some rebounds. Jason Kidd diving on the floor. Throw in a little J.R. Smith. Throw in a little Felton. Knicks get the W. Now, the Knicks did not play well in this game. They were ripe to be picked off in this game, but the Celtics couldn't finish them off. Knicks have to play better. If the Knicks have championship aspirations, they have to play better, and they're going to need more consistent play from someone other than Carmelo Anthony. He can't carry the team. They're going to need someone else on offense to really step up. It's not going to be Tyson Chandler. He's a good defensive player. He can't do anything offensively. It's going to have to be like a Felton or a J.R. Smith. And the thing about the Knicks is they take a lot of threes. When they're going down, they look great. When they're not, they look bad. And remember, no Amar'e Stoudemire yet for the Knicks. They could use him off the bench in a series like this. So Knicks get the win. They're up 1-0. I think the Knicks are going to win the series. They're going to have to play a heck of a lot better. So that was the game. Now let me get to everything else as far as Madison Square Garden and the atmosphere and the seats and all that kind of stuff. Madison Square Garden has redone the whole arena. Actually, they're still not finished. They have to finish it up this summer, I believe. Now, where we sat in the new west balcony seats, up high, but a tremendous seat. You're on a little perch up there. You're like in a little bird's nest. You're in your own little section up there. Nobody in front of you. Nobody in back of you. Not many people in your row. Tremendous, tremendous seat. I love the west balcony seats. Now, they're high, but you could see the whole court. It's almost like they're like hanging right over the court. Tremendous seat. Love this seat. Couldn't ask for a better seat at all. Now, as far as before the game with the tribute to Boston, here's the thing. No moment of silence, which I thought they should have had. I thought they should have had a moment of silence. Then they have Carmelo Anthony and Paul Pierce come out there and say a few words. Carmelo goes out there, he says a few words, the crowd cheers. Then when Paul Pierce takes the mic, a few fans, not all of them, a few fans, a few, knuckleheads start to boo. This is not about basketball, people. This is bigger than that. So Paul Pierce is not, out there talking about the Knicks-Celtic game. He's talking about bigger things up in Boston. A couple of fans start to boo. The other fans, tell those fans to keep quiet, and then Pierce talks, and the crowd gives him a nice ovation. Still, Those fans should have never booed. There wasn't many. There was a few, though. There was enough where Carmelo Anthony heard about it, and he commented on it the next day, and he said those fans were out of line. I completely agree. There was a guy behind me who was obsessed with Paul Pierce the whole game, booing Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is, we're up in like the upper deck, and he's yelling at the ref to call fouls on Paul Pierce, like the ref can actually hear him. But he was obsessed with Paul Pierce, so he was one of the guys booing when Pierce took the mic. Terrible job by those Knicks fans. Terrible job. You cannot boo Paul Pierce there. This is not about basketball. This is bigger than that. I was embarrassed to be there at that point. I was embarrassed to be a New Yorker at that point. Now, it ended quickly. The other fans, drowned them out, and then they gave Pierce a nice ovation. But those few fans that actually booed for a second or two should be ashamed of themselves. Terrible, terrible job by them. So, terrible job by them. I thought they should have had a moment of silence. They didn't. Nothing on the video board. I thought they'd show something on the video board. Then they come out for the national anthem. Now, they had Billy Joel, one of Billy Joel's band members, play on the saxophone. Yeah, it was good and he's great and all that. That day, I wanted to hear the words. I wanted to hear the words of the anthem. I thought it would have been appropriate to have someone sing the words that day. He did a great job on the saxophone. I wanted to hear the words that day. Overall, I didn't think it was as warm as it could have been. I thought they could have done a better job with that. Now, I know it's different now. The Yankees had their own tribute. The Mets had their own tribute. Maybe the Garden wanted to do something a little different. You don't want to have the same thing in every stadium. I know it's going to be different up in Boston. It happened in their city. Still, I thought they could have done a lot better job with the anthem. I want to hear the words. Put something on the video board, a little something, a little video up there. The fans booing Paul Pierce in the beginning. Awful by them. I mean, I wouldn't have had Melo or Pierce even speak. I didn't think that, you needed to do that. And I would have had a moment of silence. So I did not like the beginning of the game at Madison Square Garden, the tribute to Boston. And I don't want to blame anyone. It's tough to put this stuff together. And, it's a tough moment for everybody. Wasn't as warm as I thought it could have been. And one more time, the fans that started to boo Paul Pierce, get your head examined. This wasn't about basketball. I know Pierce is a rival on the court. This wasn't about basketball. It was bigger than that. Now, as far as some of the other things that go on at Madison Square Garden, and here's the thing. This is the problem I have with the NBA going to these arenas, and they all do it. They all do it. They don't let the game breathe for a second. I'm there to watch the basketball game. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't need a DJ at the game. The Knicks now have a DJ in the corner of the game, DJ Smooth, or whatever his name is. So he's blaring music. Every timeout, there's a million timeouts in basketball, they're blaring music over the loudspeaker. Then they have some act in between every timeout, like they bring a girl in a unicycle out there throwing plates on her head. Yeah, that's all great, but this isn't the circus. I don't need to see that. I mean, then they have the guys on the trampoline dunking a million times, had them throughout halftime. Okay, I can live with it at halftime, but do I need them a billion times during the game? Knicks City dances out there 4 billion times. Music, more music, celebrities on the video screen telling you to get loud, blaring the video screen as loud as possible, more music. Then every time they're out of a timeout and the players start to dribble up the court, the music continues to play. Do I need music as they're playing? I mean, come on. I mean, I know everyone's got to be stimulated 24 hours a day, but this is too much. I mean, I don't need all this. I'm there to watch basketball. Let the game breathe. It's like opening a bottle of wine. Let it breathe for a little while. I mean, the bells and the whistles and the noise and, the unicycle and the Knicks City dances and the DJ Smooth and the celebrities saying get loud, and then every song known to man played on the loudspeaker. Metallica, Enter Sandman, Thunderstruck, over and over. And a lot of these songs they're playing while the game is going on. Let the game breathe. Now, that's just me. I don't need all this stuff. I'm there to watch basketball. I'd be happy just watching basketball. I don't need any of this other stuff. I don't need DJ Smooth. I don't need the Knicks City dances. I don't need, a million songs over the loudspeaker. I don't need any of that. I don't need the unicycle, the girl throwing plates on her head. I don't need the trampoline guys. I'm there to watch basketball. Maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe everyone else there is not a true basketball fan. Maybe they're appealing to the non-basketball fan. Or maybe people need to be stimulated 24 hours a day and 2.5 hours during the game, every second of the game. It didn't stop the whole entire game. Too much. Let the game breathe. And another thing, the Garden and a lot of these other arenas have priced the normal fan out. I mean, the tickets are ridiculous. You go to get a beer, it's like $12 a pop. Hot dog, $8. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Not to mention, you know, depending on where you're coming from, you got to take the train, you know, whatever. So, you know, then you got to pay for your transportation as well. It is a boatload of money to go to these games. I mean, they have priced the normal fan out of the games. So, a lot of things I did like about the Garden. I mean, I love this seat. I like the way they redid everything. I mean, but some of this other stuff, the theatrics and all the stuff during the game, to me, needs to stop. As far as the crowd during the game was very choppy, sloppy, messy. Crowd had its moments, but never kind of got into this game. There was a couple moments, and I mean, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't that fevered pitch throughout the game because it was a sloppy, choppy, turnovers, ugly game. I mean, Boston had 8 points in 13 minutes. I mean, does that not say it all? So that is my little rant on the whole story there at Madison Square Garden. I did enjoy the overall experience. It's always good to go to these arenas at least once, check them out. But there's also something to be said about the people that stay home and watch it on TV. Because, you know, you get a great view on TV. You don't have to hassle. Oh, and one more thing. Coming out of the Garden, there was a Celtic fan coming out of the Garden. Every Knick fan in the world was chanting something at him, you know, cursing at him, this, that. Now, thankfully, they didn't touch him. They didn't, you know, nothing happened like that. He just didn't say a word. He didn't try and get confrontational with them all. So that was good. No one got confrontational as far as physically, but they were shouting every curse word in the book at him, and there's little kids around. I mean, there's little kids around, and all these Knick fans are shouting curse words at this Celtic fan. I mean, come on, people. I mean, do you have to act like that? Now, thankfully, there was nothing physically that happened. You know, that no one hit him, and he didn't hit anyone back. You know, he just took it and went on his way. But still, they're chanting curse words in front of all these little kids. Terrible, terrible job. And here's, you know, these fans that are chanting stuff at him. Would you do that up in the Boston Garden? If you're a Knick fan and you're up there, would you like it if Boston fans did that to you? I mean, it's like this mob mentality at these games. I mean, terrible. Grow up, people. I mean, I know you love your team, and I'm all for, you know, playful, you know, ribbing of the other team. I understand all that. But the cursing in front of the little kids, awful. And you could see how something could happen in this situation. Now, nothing thankfully did, but one person turns and does something. You can have a complete free-for-all there, and people could get hurt. There's no security around. There's no security. There's a million people coming out of there. I didn't see one security person at all. So, I mean, it could have been a complete melee. It wasn't. But I didn't even like the cursing in front of the little kids. I mean, terrible. So, things I liked about the Garden, things I didn't like. You know, I guess that's like everything else. You like some things, you don't like some other things. So, that was my experience at Madison Square Garden. Knicks go up 1-0. Second game tomorrow, Tuesday night. That's another thing. Does the NBA have to space these games so far apart? So, the Knicks play Saturday afternoon. They don't play again till Tuesday night. That's over 3 days. I mean, how long are you going to drag out this first round? I mean, I know it's about TV and money and having a doubleheader on every day, but come on. I mean, 3.5 days to play the first round game? I mean, unbelievable. All right, let's get to some other NBA games. I can't talk about the Madison Square Garden the whole day. All right, let's go to some other games. Denver beat Golden State 97-95. Denver goes up 1-0. Denver actually struggled in this game. Miller bailed him out with a basket at the end of this game. Denver did not look good. Remember, they're playing without Gallinari. Golden State with a big loss. They lose David Lee for the playoffs with a hip injury. I still think Denver's going to get through here. They should win in about 5-6 games. Now with David Lee being out, Golden State's not going to win. They're not a good road team. Denver didn't play great in this game. They just didn't look great. They have a big, long winning streak at home. We know they're great at home. Didn't look great. They'll get through this series, though. But Denver going forward without Gallinari, they could be a one-win series and out type of team. All right, also, Brooklyn just bombarded Chicago on Saturday. This game was never close. All Brooklyn all the way. Chicago, no Derrick Rose. Looks like he's going to miss the whole playoffs. Chicago's got no chance without Derrick Rose. Noah's limping around out there. No Derrick Rose. This is going to be Brooklyn's series. Brooklyn can handle these type of teams. Brooklyn gets the job done. They go up 1-0. Also on Saturday, the Clippers, same thing. Never trailed in the game against Memphis. Blew out Memphis. Clippers should take care of business here against Memphis. Clippers are the better team with home court. Clippers just destroyed Memphis. This game was an absolute blowout. Yesterday on Sunday, Indiana comfortably over Atlanta. I would expect Indiana to get through. Indiana goes up 1-0. San Antonio beats the Lakers. They go up 1-0. Listen, the Lakers, I mean, come on. I mean, no Kobe Bryant. I mean, do we really expect the Lakers to beat San Antonio without home court? Lakers are not a good road team. had a battle just to get in the playoffs. Nash is banged up. Bartest is banged up. I mean, the Lakers are a traveling circus. The quicker they go out of the playoffs, the better. I'm sick of talking about the Lakers this year. I mean, they're not endearing to the fans. I mean, I remember the Laker teams with Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those teams were endearing to you. This team is not endearing with Dwight Howard and all these characters on this team. The quicker they go out, the better. Last night, Miami blew out Milwaukee. I mean, come on, this is going to be a sweep. Miami's so much better than Milwaukee. I mean, that's another reason not to drag out the first round. Do we need 2 weeks to play the Milwaukee-Miami series? And Oklahoma City last night routed Houston. No surprise there. Houston's got no one to blame but themselves. Houston could have got out of the 8th seed. They could have beat the Lakers or Phoenix down the stretch, lost to both of them. They fell to the 8. Here's your reward, Houston. You get Oklahoma City, you're going to be out in 4 games. So that's kind of some of your doings in the NBA. To me, the writing's on the wall in the first round. All the teams that won the first game, the first round, are going to win the first round. They're all going to advance. I'd be shocked if any of them got beat. I mean, I think all the teams that won the game 1 are going to win the series. Okay, over to your NHL we go. On Friday, the Rangers had a huge win against Buffalo. Nice win by the Rangers. That kind of puts Buffalo out of it. St. Louis beat Dallas. On Saturday, Pittsburgh beat Boston. Pittsburgh sews up top seed in the East. Islanders continue to be a great story. They beat Winnipeg. How good are the Islanders playing? They're definitely going to make the playoffs. I think Tavares looks like a star. Washington beat Montreal. Is anyone hotter than Washington? A month ago, I kicked dirt on Washington. I said they were done. I mean, they are flying now. Ovechkin is playing great hockey. Washington, a dangerous team going in the playoffs. They are flying. Toronto beat Ottawa. Vancouver beat Detroit. And Phoenix beat Chicago. Yesterday on Sunday, the Rangers, another nice win, beat the Devils. Wow, what happened to the Devils? Completely fell apart. Columbus beat San Jose. Columbus right there for the 8th seed. LA beat Dallas. Boston beat Florida. And Calgary beat Minnesota. I'll tell you, the races in the NHL for the 8th spot are really wild. We'll get to the NHL more tomorrow with our NHL State of the Union. But in the East, you got Ottawa, Rangers, Winnipeg all battling for the 8th seed. In the West, you got Columbus, Detroit, Dallas, and even Phoenix battling, for that 8th spot in the West. Very, very tight races coming down the stretch. We'll get into this more tomorrow with our NHL State of the Union. So that was kind of some of your doings in the NHL over the weekend. As far as Major League Baseball over the weekend, the Yankees took 2 or 3 from Toronto. Toronto did salvage a game yesterday. Don't like what I see from Toronto. Do not like at all what I see from them early in the season. Cincinnati beat Miami 3-4. Is there any worse team than Miami? They look terrible. Mets did a nice job. Beat Washington 2-3. Mets are playing decent ball. Now, I don't expect a lot from the Mets, but they are playing decent. They're hanging in there. How good has Harvey been? Harvey looks like a Cy Young candidate early in the year. Baltimore took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. Dodgers did salvage a win yesterday. I'll tell you, the Dodgers, ever since Greinke got hurt, Dodgers have not been the same team. Now Billingsley's on the disabled list. Kemp struggling. What's wrong with Matt Kemp? Matt Kemp looked like he was going to hit 40, 50 home runs last year before he got hurt. Now he looks like he can't even hit 10. Looks like mentally lost. Looks like he had a mental breakdown at the plate. Don't like what I see at all from Matt Kemp or the Dodgers. The Dodgers had a plethora of pitching in spring training. Now they're shorthanded at pitching with all these injuries. Unbelievable. Pittsburgh actually took 3 or 4 from Atlanta. Well, Atlanta had to cool off sometime. They cooled off over the weekend. Nice job by Pittsburgh. Kansas City took 2 or 3 from Boston. Boston had the emotional win on Saturday. KC ends up winning. They split yesterday, so both teams won 1 game. Kansas City wins 2 of 3 games. All right, over to Tampa Bay and Oakland. Tampa Bay swept Oakland over the weekend, so they cool off Oakland. Oakland was playing really good ball. Tampa Bay cooled them off. Minnesota, 4 in a row. They took two games against the White Sox. It was only a 2-game series because 1 game was rained out. Milwaukee, how about Milwaukee? They swept the Cubs. Milwaukee's won 7 in a row. Nice job by them. Cleveland beat Houston. Cleveland took 2 or 3 from Houston over the weekend. Cleveland won 19-6 on Saturday. Houston's another bad team. Texas swept Seattle. The Angels swept Detroit. We were wondering when the Angels were going to wake up, so nice job by the Angels. They actually sweep Detroit, so there we go. Trumbo with the home run yesterday to win it for the Angels. San Francisco swept San Diego. San Diego, yet another awful team. Colorado took 2 or 3 from Arizona. Arizona did salvage a win yesterday, but Colorado wins 2 or 3. Colorado 8-1 at home. Very nice home mark. And Philadelphia won last night on Sunday Night Baseball, so they split the series there with St. Louis. Back up to that Boston series. Boston actually had won on Saturday. I said they had the emotional win on Saturday. Kansas City actually won both games yesterday. So Kansas City won 2 or 3 yesterday, and 2 games yesterday and won 2 or 3 for the series. I'll get it correct. So Kansas City won that series 2 games to 1. Okay, so that was kind of some of your Major League Baseball over the weekend. As far as boxing over the weekend, I hope you caught the boxing on Saturday night. Trout and Alvarez in front of 40,000 at the Alamo Dome. I mean, that is a great, great crowd for boxing. Alvarez wins a unanimous decision. The judges in the open scoring ruined this fight. First of all, the judges were way off base in this fight. One judge had Alvarez winning by 9, another one had him winning by 5, and another one had him winning by 3. I mean, the three-pointer you can live with. This fight was much closer than that. Could have gone either way. Could have been a draw. Much closer than that. Scores were too far apart. I kind of had a feeling in Texas, Alvarez, the hometown fighter, I kind of had a feeling he was going to get the benefit of the doubt on the judges' cards. I mean, he could have definitely won this fight, but not with these margins. I mean, Texas has been known for bad judging, and here's another thing, the open scoring. They give you the scoring after the 4th and 8th round, and after the 8th round, they say Alvarez is up by like 8-9 points. There was no drama left in the fight. You knew who was going to win. You didn't even have to watch the last 4 rounds. I mean, so there was no drama with the open scoring. Plus, the judging was bad. To me, this was a very close fight. The bad judging and the open scoring kind of ruined this fight. Trout was busy, but he was not accurate. He never hurt Alvarez. Alvarez put Trout down once in the fight briefly. Trout got up in that round, and actually, I thought, had the better of the round after he was knocked down. Trout didn't really hurt Alvarez. That was the difference in the fight. The people that scored this fight thought because Alvarez, even though he didn't land that much, he landed the big power shots. That's what won him this fight. Trout was very, very busy, though. I thought the scoring should have been a lot closer. I mean, to me, I know a lot of people were saying this was a great fight. It wasn't a great fight. It was an okay fight. It was pretty good. It wasn't a great fight. It wasn't a great fight at all. It wasn't a classic. I mean, it wasn't like that. It was okay. It wasn't like tremendous. You got to watch it again. It wasn't Hearns Hagler. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't the worst fight I ever saw, but it wasn't great either. Plus, you throw in the bad judging, scores were too far apart, and the open scoring which left no drama left in the fight. I mean, to me, that ruined the fight for me. After the 8th round, even I gave up scoring the fight because they all had, Alvarez winning by that point. You didn't have to score it. Trout needed a knockout, and we knew he wasn't going to get that. He's not that type of fighter. So to me, it ruined the whole fight. They shouldn't have any more fights in Texas with these judges. I mean, come on, get some judges that know how to judge in Texas. The judging was terrible. The open scoring was terrible. Like I said, the fight could have gone either way. If you said Alvarez won, no problem. If you said it was a draw, no problem. You want to tell me Trout won because you liked his, he threw more punches and, he controlled most of the action in the ring. Okay, I could see that. I mean, a lot of people said Alvarez won this fight because of his power punching. Okay, I could see that too. Not the margin of scores that were here. I mean, 9 points on one card, 5 points on another. I mean, I could live with the 3-pointer, but not 9 points. I mean, was this person watching the fight? I mean, come on, 9 points, ridiculous. So once again, boxing has controversy with scoring, with judging, all that kind of stuff. I mean, they're both good fighters. We'll see who Alvarez fights next. He wants Mayweather. We'll see if Mayweather fights him. We'll see if Mayweather can get by Guerrero in 2 weeks. Trout, he's got to start from the beginning now. We'll see who ends up fighting him. He's a good fighter. We'll see if he can be an elite fighter. Got to have a little more sting on his punches. Got to put him a little more snap on his punches. He likes to pour a little bit, likes to just tap you a little bit. Against the bigger fighters, guys that, can take a punch, that's not going to get the job done. A lot of judges don't like that type of style, but Trout's still a decent fighter. So Alvarez gets the unanimous decision, although I thought the judging and the open scoring ruined the fight. Okay, also some news and notes as far as the NFL. Harrison, formerly of the Steelers, he signs with the Bengals. It'll be very weird to see Harrison wearing a Bengal jersey. And Revis traded to Tampa Bay. We knew that was going to happen. Jets had to do it. Jets are in complete rebuilding mode. I mean, they can tell you anything they want. They're rebuilding now. They're taking the draft picks. I mean, now if they could just get rid of Sanchez and Tebow, they'd be okay, right? All right, so as far as tonight, Monday, what to watch. As far as our NBA, you got an NBA doubleheader tonight. You're going to have an NBA doubleheader for a while now. You got Chicago and Brooklyn game 2, and you have Memphis and the Clippers game 2. Let's hope the games are a little more competitive than the other day. NHL tonight, Winnipeg, Buffalo, huge game for Winnipeg. Pittsburgh, Ottawa. Ottawa still hanging on to a playoff spot. Phoenix, Detroit, very big game for both teams. Loser could be out of it. Chicago, Vancouver, very nice game. Anaheim and Edmonton. As far as your Major League Baseball tonight, Oakland, Boston, Yankees, Tampa, Toronto, Baltimore, St. Louis, Washington, Pitt, Philly, Cubs, Cincinnati, Cleveland, White Sox, Miami, Minnesota, Seattle, Houston, Atlanta, Colorado, Texas, and the Angels, Milwaukee, San Diego, and Arizona, San Francisco. So you got a full slate in Major League Baseball. You got a couple of playoff games in the NBA, and of course you got your NHL. Okay, let me take a breath here. You guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Enjoy the games tonight. Stay safe. Keep an eye on the news up there in Boston. Tomorrow we're going to do our NHL State of the Union. We're getting down to the home stretch in the NHL. Do a little NHL and recap what went on tonight in the sports world. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. Thanks for the support. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, Tuesday. Take care.